Well, we are officially halfway into the season, so yeah, let that sink in a little bit. But this is a good week. A lot of great games, a lot of close finishes, crazy endings, upsets. A lot of injuries, though, around the league. So we're going to get into all of that. But yeah, this was a great week. I think the Thursday, Sunday, Monday night games, they were all great. So hopefully we continue that trend going into week 9. But yeah, let's get into it. So Thursday night we had the Vikings going into LA. And, this was a late edition. I wasn't sure if Cooper Kupp was actually going to play. And they said Puka was going to be on a snap count. Those were both lies. They played the whole game, and they both did great. So, yeah, don't ever trust these type of injury sources. But they played great. This was a great game. It was closer than I think that it was. Matthew Stafford was just on another level when it came to having Puka and Cooper Kupp back. Puka with the yards, Cooper Kupp with the red zone targets. Kyren Williams played great again. Like I said, in my opinion, the best or second best running back in the league currently. Like I said, Matthew Stafford 4 TDs, 1 interception, 279. Sam Darnold also didn't play bad. 240, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Aaron Jones kind of struggled tonight. Justin Jefferson had a great game, 115. Jordan Addison wasn't really targeted that much, but I think over time that's going to change. The defense played great, for the Rams. Kind of just shutting them down, letting the Rams score. They scored every quarter, which is what you want. I'm sorry. They didn't score in the second quarter, but they scored in general, pretty much every quarter. But, no, they did. I'm tripping. 7-7-7-9. The Vikings are the ones that didn't score in the second quarter. Either way, this was a great Thursday night game. Up until the end, really bad no call for the face mask. Would this game have been different? In my opinion, probably not. But it would have at least opened up that opportunity. But yeah, really bad call. I'm not sure how you miss that call, especially when there's 2 refs in the end zone right there. But it is what it is. The Vikings kind of got screwed. At the same time, they were probably still going to lose that game, but it wasn't 100% at that point. So either way, let's get on to the next game. Next, we have the Eagles going to Cincinnati. I feel like a lot of people thought this game was going to be a lot closer than it was. I'm kind of one of those people, but at the same time, I just felt like the Eagles were going to win this game by a lot. Jalen Hurts didn't really play that great in terms of the passing game. Only 236 and a touchdown. No picks, though. Joe Burrow had 234, touchdown and a pick. But Jalen Hurts in the run game, 37 yards, and then he had 3 goal line touchdowns. Saquon had 108, was robbed all 3 times of those touchdowns, so he could have had 3 if this was, any other team. Chase Brown led the team in, everything pretty much. 32 yards, 1 touchdown. Chase Brown is a kind of underrated running back. Him and Zach Moss are a low-key, very underrated running back duo. They're just in a really weird scheme that doesn't shine in the running back department. They don't let the run game take over. They really want to force the pass. Devontae Smith had a great game, 85 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown had 84. Mike Gesicki, 73, led the team in receiving, and Jamar Chase had 54 and a touchdown. Overall, the defense for the Eagles pretty much shut down the Bengals at any given time. And Evan McPherson yet again has not done pretty much anything, but that's not to his discredit. He did miss a 50-something yard field goal, and he made, a 27-yard field goal. Evan McPherson has not been doing anything this year. And I know that because he's on my fantasy team. But that also means that the Bengals are not helping him get into field goal range, and they go for it on fourth a lot. So when that happens, your kicker's not going to get points. But either way, big win for the Eagles. Next we had, I would say upset of the week. The Ravens going into Cleveland and losing to the Browns. Jameis Winston got his first start this season. 334, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Should have been probably two touchdowns, 2 picks. Lamar Jackson had 289, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Derrick Henry, 73 yards and a touchdown. Nick Chubb, 52 yards. No rushing touchdowns by the Browns. Zay Flowers, 115 with 12 total targets. Isaiah Likely, 47 yards. Nelson Aguilar had a 36-yard touchdown. 14-yard touchdown, my bad. And Mark Andrews had a touchdown as well. On the Cleveland side, we have Cedric Tillman, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns. Hasn't done anything all season. Jerry Jeudy, 79 yards. Elijah Moore, 85 yards. And David Njoku in his 61 and the other touchdown. So this was a back-and-forth game, and I really don't think it should have been. The Ravens' defense just could not stop the Browns' offense. I think they were just kind of unprepared for that passing onslaught. I don't think they expected them to pass it that often. They passed it 41 times. This was just a big division win for the Browns. Doesn't really change the outlook of their season unless they go like on a really big win streak. I feel like they can't lose any more games. They're already at 8. You have to win, the next 8 games? Right? No. How many weeks are there? 18 weeks. 17 games. They gotta win the next 9, dude. No, 10. I'm tripping. I don't know. The Browns have to just win a lot of games in order to be, considered for a playoff spot. Even if they do go to the playoffs, they're not gonna do nothing, but just for the little fans that do have hope, you gotta pretty much win out the season here. Next we have the Titans going to Detroit. I'm not really gonna touch a lot on this game just because of obvious reasons. The Titans are one of the worst teams in the league, probably a top 3 worst, against the Lions, who are probably a top 5. Mason Rudolph couldn't do anything against that defense. Tony Pollard still had a great game, though. Calvin Ridley finally had his breakout game. 10 catches, 143 yards, 15 targets. That's what happens when you don't have Hopkins anymore. Jahmyr Gibbs, 127 and a touchdown. David Montgomery, 33 and a touchdown. Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Sam Laporta had a touchdown. Khalif Raymond had a touchdown. Brock Wright had a touchdown. Amon St. Brown had a touchdown. They were just kind of giving out touchdowns today. So, nothing much to go off of. I mean, one of the best teams in the league played one of the worst teams in the league. One thing I would like to point out, would y'all consider the Lions offense really, really, really good, or have they played really, really, really bad defenses? Let's take a look. They did play the Rams week 1. Week 1, Rams had their full team. So, they were still decent. I would say that's a okay win against an okay defense. They beat the Bucs. The Bucs were pretty healthy then. The Bucs still have a pretty bad defense. So that's an okay defense. Cardinals, they don't really have a great defense. They have an okay defense as well. Pretty mediocre. Not super trash, but not great. So, The Seahawks, they were kind of banged up that game. So, if they were healthy, it could have been a little closer. Played the Cowboys. The Cowboys, that game, were just depleted. There was no chance for the Cowboys to win the game, so pretty easy. The Vikings, That was a pretty tough game against a really good offense and a good defense. So that was a good win. The Titans, trash. So, in reality, they haven't played many great defenses. They only played really one top defense. They played the Cowboys, who were really injured, Seahawks that were injured, the Cardinals, who were the Bucs with a pretty bad defense, even with the starters there, and then the Rams defense, who was So they've only played one top defense, and they won, but it was a 3-point game. So that means that the offense did have to score, 31 points to win the game. It's hard to say, man. They're going to play the Packers, another top defense. They're going to play the Texans, pretty depleted, especially on the offensive side. They can't put up points. The Jaguars, pretty trash defense. Colts, pretty trash defense. The Bears, okay defense. Packers, pretty good defense. Bills can be a good defense when they play correctly. The Bears, 49ers, great defense. Vikings, great defense. So, they're gonna be battle tested, within their roster and who's healthy and whatnot. But we'll see if the Lions are a legit powerhouse offense, or have they been playing some pretty mediocre defenses. Next, we have the Cardinals going to Miami. I thought this game was going to be pretty close, just with, Tua coming back, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle being able to, shine along with the running backs, open up the run game a little bit. Plus, all the running backs are healthy now. And the Cardinals, they win again in a last-second field goal back-to-back weeks. Close field goals as well. Kyler Murray, great game, 307, 2 touchdowns. James Conner, 53 yards and a touchdown. Devon Achane, 97. And Raheem Mostert, 19 with 2 touchdowns. This game had some pretty bad penalties at the end, which set up the Cardinals for a chip away last-second field goal. And if that doesn't happen, the Cardinals defense has to go out and stop the Miami Dolphins offense. And I don't think they would have done that. I think they would have ran out the clock. So, a couple penalties kind of decided this game at the end, and, ultimately gave the Cardinals a, easy 27-yard last-second field goal. So that's a little bit frustrating. But Tyreek had a great game, 72. He was kind of injured, though, a little banged up. Devon Achane had a touchdown. Jalen Waddle, 45. And then on the other side, you have Trey McBride, 124 and a touchdown. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a career game already, 111 and a touchdown. And Michael Wilson even had a touchdown. So, like I said, this game just kind of was given to the Cardinals at the end. I feel like the Dolphins should have won this game if, one or two calls did not happen, especially on the third down. So, that's just how it goes, but either way, good win for the Cardinals to keep their playoff hopes alive. Next, I wouldn't say this is the upset of the week, because that would only be if the Jets are, winning games. Since the Jets are not winning games, I would not consider this upset of the week. But it was an upset nonetheless. Aaron Rodgers didn't play, crazy terrible. He did take a lot of sacks. He only took 1 sack. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Breece Hall, 16 for 80. Braylon Allen, 32 and a touchdown. Jacoby Brissett didn't really play that great. Neither did, Drake May for the time that he was in there. Rondamore Stevenson and the rest of the run game didn't do anything. This defense for the Patriots just shut down the Jets completely. I mean, Keyshawn Boutte, 46 yards. Hunter Henry, 45 yards. Tyquan Thornton, 20 yards. I mean, these are receivers that no one, has on their fantasy teams or even knows who they are. And they won this game. Garrett Wilson, 113, no touchdowns. Devontae Adams, 54, no touchdowns. Tyler Conklin had the one of 2 touchdowns with Xavier Gibson catching the 1-yard touchdown. His only target, 1 yards, 1 touchdown. 1. And like I said, man, The defense was on fire for the Patriots, and I mean, the Patriots should have scored no points this game. It should have been, a goose egg. Yet they went out and won this game. So, big division win, and honestly, just completely a pathetic loss for the Jets. Next, we have the Falcons going into Tampa Bay. This game was a lot closer than, I'm pretty sure everyone had imagined. Kirk Cousins had a great game, 23-29, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Baker Mayfield, 330, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks, but he also threw the ball 21 more times than Kirk Cousins. Bijan, 63, no touchdowns. Bucky Irving and Rashad White combines for 73 yards, no touchdowns. Kyle Pitts had, of course, his career game as he's playing me in fantasy this week. Had 91 yards and 2 touchdowns, so that was great. If he would have hit his average, I would have won, by the way. Darnell Mooney, 86 yards and 1 touchdown. Bijan, 43 and a touchdown. K. Dotton, surprised everyone with 81 and 2 touchdowns. And honestly, the defense for the Falcons just kind of maintained, kept them at bay. Tampa Bay. And just kind of won this game. But, the Buccaneers put up a fight, man. They're pretty much playing with scraps at this point. They have a good run game, but they have no receivers. They have tight ends, but that's pretty much it. So, I wouldn't say the Bucs season is completely, wasted. I feel like they just have to kind of stall till they get Mike Evans back, and they can kind of maintain, what they had going on the offensive side. But, losing Chris Godwin, that's a killer. Next, we had Green Bay going into Jacksonville. This was another pretty close game. Jordan Love ends up getting injured, I believe, sometime in the third, I think, or something like that. I'm not really sure when he got hurt, to be honest. Sometime in the second half, I know that. Malik Willis comes in. One of his 5 throws was a touchdown. Trevor Lawrence, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Tank Bigsby was pretty much the only running back that was, active this game. Josh Jacobs, 127, 2 touchdowns, so had a great game. And on the receiving core, we had Tucker Kraft, 78 yards and a touchdown. Romeo Doubs, 72 yards and no touchdowns. Jaden Reed, 55 yards. Brian Thomas Jr., 60 yards and a touchdown. Christian Kirk had 59 yards, no touchdowns, and broke his collarbone. And if he would have not done that this game, he would have been a Pittsburgh Steeler. So that's pretty insane. But, Brenton Strange, 59 yards. Ball was getting distributed, man. I think if Malik Willis comes in earlier, Jags win this game. But the defense for the Jags were, keeping it close. So, honestly, this isn't a bad loss for the Jaguars. This is a good loss. It's not something to be ashamed of. This is a good loss. And Packers got lucky, getting this win because, you gotta battle your way to the number 1 seed in this NFC North, with the Lions there. So, and, honestly, this whole division is pretty stacked. So, you got to stack up these wins when you can. Next, we have the Colts going into Houston. Also a close game. Anthony Richardson, 175, a touchdown and a pick. C.J. Stroud, 285, and 1 touchdown. This game was pretty interesting. Anthony Richardson kind of just gets hurt. Joe Flacco goes in. Well, that doesn't get hurt. He just gets tired. Joe Flacco goes in for 1 play. He just hands the ball off. Anthony Richardson goes back in, and then finds out he's getting benched the rest of the year after this game. C.J. Stroud, 285, a touchdown. Joe Mixon, 102 and a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor, 105 and a touchdown. Josh Downs, 109 and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs, 81 and a touchdown. And he ends up getting his ACL torn, which sucks. Tank Dell had a touchdown as well. But, yeah, man, the defense for the Texans held up against the Colts. They should have. But the Texans are getting depleted big time. So we will see how they advance moving forward. They're not going to have Tank Dell. They're going to have Nico Collins for about 2 weeks. So we'll see how the Texans, offensive roster is pretty built here and see how much they rely on the run game. Next we have the Saints going to LA. Not really going to touch much on this game. The offense had zero production for the Saints. They couldn't stop anything on the defensive side, obviously, with, most of the Chargers starters still active. But, nothing much about this game. It was a blowout. Saints don't really have anybody on the offensive side right now. No offensive production. And then, you have the Chargers just dominating them on the defense and offensive side. So, pretty easy win for the Chargers. Nothing really to go on here. Next, we have the Bills going into Seattle. I thought this game was going to be a lot closer than, I thought. I was not aware that DK Metcalf was not going to play this game. But Josh Allen, 283, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Geno Smith did not play great, 212 and a pick. Also led the team in rushing yards. You never want to do that. James Cook, 111, 2 touchdowns. Honestly, this was just a pretty dominant performance by the Bills offense and defense. Seahawks offense could not do anything, whether it be run the ball or pass. They had a combined 244 offensive yards, and Josh Allen had 40 more of that passing, not to mention 164 on the ground with the Bills rush game. So honestly, pretty bad. Honestly, just a pretty dominant performance just all around for the Bills. So we'll see if they can continue that win streak a little bit and see what the Seahawks do if they do get healthy. Next, we had a divisional game, the Chiefs and the Raiders. Chiefs almost choked this game away. Once again, we're going to look at the Chiefs' last couple games and show you how close they have almost lost some of these games. They almost lost to Gardner Minshew and this struggling Raiders offense. Not really much to go off of except the defense for the Chiefs coming in clutch this game and being able to stop the Raiders, like they should. But Raiders put up a fight, man. They put up a fight and ultimately just came up short. Honestly, there's not a lot of highlights for the Chiefs this season. It's just a matter of they're winning these games that they honestly shouldn't. So we're going to go into that pretty soon. We're going to check how many one-score games the Chiefs have, played through and won. Week 1, they beat the Ravens 27-20. One-score game. They lost. They won against the Bengals 26-25. One-score game. They beat the Falcons 22-17. One-score game. They beat the Chargers 17-10. One-score game. They beat a struggling, very injured Saints team 26-13. Two-score game. They beat the 49ers in a very, I would say not lucky, but like the 49ers chose to play their worst game against that week against the Chiefs. 28-18. Two-score game, 10-point game. They beat a struggling Raiders team 27-20. And look at their schedule upcoming here. Well, yeah, man. I mean, if you look at their next upcoming games, they have the Bucs, obviously struggling and very injured. They're going to play us. You already know how the Broncos' Chiefs history has been the last 8 years. They've pretty much dominated us, but they've also played us pretty much every single time that we're at our most injured state. On the Bills, that should be a great game. Panthers, obviously, tanking their season. Raiders again. Chargers, Browns, struggling. Texans, struggling with injuries. The Steelers, they're obviously going to play bad when they play the Chiefs, and then we're going to play them again. So, we'll see. But, honestly, they could win every one of these games, so we'll see how they do. Next, we have a game that everyone was talking about with the Bears and the Commanders. Caleb Williams didn't really play that great. 131, no touchdowns, no picks. DeAndre Swift, 129 and a touchdown. Jaden Daniels had 326. His only touchdown pass was the last-second Hail Mary. Brian Robinson, 65. No touchdowns. Austin Eckler, 52. No touchdowns. Jay Daniels also ran for 52 yards. The last second Hail Mary touchdown throw caught by Noah Brown, insane. Obviously, if you haven't watched it, go look at it. This game was, over. This game was completely over. The Bears go in, score at the end, go up by, They go up by 4, and you're like, damn. Like, the Commanders are not going to go down the field in 20-something seconds and score a Hail Mary touchdown. And what do? They do exactly that. Insane game. The second half was extremely close, going back and forth defensively. This was a very defensive, entertaining game. But, man, was this game close. And, honestly, big shout-out to the Commanders. They have had an amazing season that no one was expecting. And I'm kind of happy for them. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just kind of happy for them. Next, we have the Cowboys going on to San Francisco. Honestly, this is a lot closer than originally people thought. Dak Prescott, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Brock Purdy, 1 touchdown, no picks. Zeke pathetically led the team in rushing yards, 34 with the touchdown. This game was just honestly pretty close in general. Yeah, but the 49ers, I would say, just could not, get things going, I would say, on the defensive side, as they usually do. They were letting the Cowboys just kind of get too much, just kind of letting them make too much plays, especially down, in the fourth quarter there. Honestly, almost choked this game away. The defense had to come up clutch and make 1 or 2 big stops. But, George Kittle, great game, 128 and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb for 146, 2 touchdowns. I would say some of those are garbage time, but at the same time, they're not garbage time because they almost came back and won this game. So it just kind of depends how you look at it. But the defense for the 49ers very much struggled. Cowboys were just kind of not getting lucky. I would say they did make this game close just because of how bad the 49ers were playing. But either way, big win for the 49ers. Next, we had New York going into Pittsburgh on Monday night. This game, I would say, was a little closer than originally people thought. Daniel Jones didn't play great. 264, no touchdowns and a pick. Russell Wilson played pretty decent, 278, a touchdown, no picks. Teron Tracy Jr., though, 145 and a touchdown. Very, very probably the most underrated running back drafted this year in the 5th round. Has kind of not been given an opportunity, but hey, he's definitely the starter now. Najee Harris, 114, no touchdowns. Honestly, the run game was not really all there for the Steelers. I feel like they got a couple big chunk plays, and a lot of those Najee Harris carries were 1 yards. Darius Slayton, 108, no touchdowns. Malik Neighbors getting the majority of the targets there. Wan'Dale Robinson, I don't know why he's not getting the ball in more down the field threats, but he's doing a lot of yards after the catch because they're giving him such short routes. You know what I mean? George Pickens, 74, and Calvin Austin II got that only touchdown. Big defensive plays by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and honestly, if the run game was not efficient for the Giants, they probably wouldn't have scored anything but field goals this game. So, big win for the Steelers here. Next, we had the Carolina Panthers going into Denver to play the Broncos. This game should have been more of a blowout. Honestly, I wouldn't even consider this a blowout. It was only 2 scores. We should have gotten 2 more touchdowns. So that would have put us at 42 points. Panthers shouldn't have had a touchdown, so that should have been 7. It should have been 42-7, if I'm being completely honest. We let this game get a little bit closer than what it originally was. Bo Nix, though, 3 touchdowns and no picks. Bryce Young, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Garbage time touchdown, so I would say 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Chuba Hubbard, 56 yards, Pretty much all the rushing the Panthers got that game. Jaleel McLaughlin, 47, Javonte Williams, 44. Pretty even in the backfield. Bo Nix had 4 total touchdowns with a rushing touchdown on the goal line. Jalen Cocker, 78, and a touchdown. Cortland Sutton had 100 on the day, and Adam Trautman had an insane touchdown. Jaleel McLaughlin had a touchdown as well. And Nate Atkins, our fullback, backup fullback, if I'm mistaken. I don't know if he's a backup fullback or backup tight end. I don't really know what he is, but he also had a touchdown. Probably is one of 3 catches this entire season. So obviously the defense, did its thing. Not sure why people are throwing to Pat Surtain. He's not Garrett Will. He's not Sauce Gardner. You can't just throw to him and expect, your receiver to catch it. So not really sure why people keep testing Surtain, but hey, let them. I'm okay with it. Please continue to let them. Either way, big win for the Broncos at home. It's a must-win. It was a win that you should have gotten. There shouldn't have been a reason not to get this win. But, yeah. Let's see what we do next week. Next, we're going on to Week 9 picks of the week. Thursday, we have Houston going into New York. I have the Jets winning this game just because of how injured the Texans are right now. They don't have Nico Collins. They're not going to have Stephon Diggs. I believe 1 or 2 of their offensive linemen are hurt. A couple guys on the defense are a little banged up. The Jets, this is the last home game I think they have until they get on a little bit of a road trip away game thing. So we'll see what they do there, but I feel like this is a must-win for the Jets. You got to take advantage of an injured team and, just go out and win this game. Next, we have the 12 o'clock games with starting off, we have the Cowboys going to Atlanta. I have the Cowboys winning, I have the Falcons winning that game pretty easy in my opinion. So, yeah, I just can't see the Cowboys winning that. Dolphins and Buffalo. I honestly feel like this is a close game. I feel like it can be a very close game. I feel like the Dolphins could very easily win this game. But I do have the Bills winning this just because of the circumstances. I feel like it's at home. It's a big rivalry game. I just have to have the Bills winning that. I would not be surprised if the Dolphins win that, though. Next, we have the Raiders going into Cincinnati. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders win this game. The Bengals have been struggling really bad on the offensive side, and if they can't take advantage of this Vegas defense, that's pretty sad. But I do have the Bengals winning this. Wouldn't be surprised at all if the Raiders win. Chargers going into Cleveland. I have the Chargers winning that. I feel like they're a more, more developed team. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns win this either. So let's see. Next, we have the Patriots going into Tennessee. Honestly, I have the Titans winning this game. Call me crazy. I just feel like I honestly don't know if Drake May's playing. I feel like even if he is, he's not going to play fully efficient. He's coming off of a concussion. Those take at least 10 days to, fully heal from. But, man, I don't know. I honestly think that the Titans are going to start to pick things up a little bit this game. At least, to not get completely embarrassed this entire season. Next, we have the Broncos going into Baltimore. I honestly feel like we have a 20% chance to win this game. If we can contain their offense and we can put up points, we might have a chance to win this game. But I do have the Ravens winning this just because if we can't do that, they're going to blow us out. Next, we have the Commanders going into New York. Obviously, the Commanders are going to win that game. I don't see the Giants, putting up the same amount of points as Washington can. Next, we have the Saints going into Carolina. This honestly would have been a really easy win for the Panthers if they still had Deontay Johnson and if they for whatever, not for whatever reason, but they don't have Adam Thielen activated. He's healthy right now. They don't have him activated for this game because they're planning on trading him this week. So, if Thielen was playing, Andy Dalton was playing, Deontay Johnson was playing, Panthers win this easy. But because they're not, I have the Saints winning this. I do hope the Panthers win because I don't particularly like the Saints, but we'll see. The Jags going into Philadelphia. Eagles are winning that. I mean, I just don't see a reason why the Eagles lose this. If they lose this, upset of the week. Chicago into Arizona. This is a 50-50 game. I honestly could see this going either way. Bears could be playing pissed because they just got embarrassed. But I have the Cardinals winning this. I feel like they have a little bit more firepower when it comes to playmaking. So we'll see what happens there. Detroit going into Green Bay. This is another great game, probably the game of the week. But I do have the Lions winning that over Green Bay. Honestly, could go either way, though. Rams going into Seattle. DK Metcalf is still not going to be active, so I do have the Rams winning this with their offense healthy. Next, we have the Colts going into Minnesota. I do have the Vikings winning that. If the Colts win, wow. Monday night, we do have the Bucs going to Kansas City. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to win that. If the Bucs win, oh my gosh, what a huge, huge upset. But yeah, guys, this was Week 8 review, Week 9 picks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This video did come out late once again. I did go to an unexpected quince last night, so didn't have time to record and put this video out before then, but I'm here now. So either way, I will see you all next week for Week 9 review and Week 10 picks. See you later.